I'm going to be going through the list and the things that I predict that will have extra forms of progression. Now, are my predictions based on insider information? No. No. Maybe. But they're not. Okay? All right, chat. So here's the list. Okay? Number 1. This is the one I've been pushing for the most. And there's a reason why I've been pushing for. I'll actually tell you guys what I've been discussing, right? So for starters, right, big one that I think they will dip their toes into, and multiple devs have confirmed that they like Rag, Arc, and even Dex. Bell progression. More to bells. Chat, we can all agree. If they drop this, that's a weekly and a half. That's a good ass weekly. That's prog. You see what I'm saying? That's doing stuff to unlock stuff, which is what people want. People want to explore. People want to investigate. People want to X, Y, and Z. They want more variety. It's a win-win for everyone, basically, right? The only issue is potential balance. That is the hardest part. So let's go over the wins. Win in variety. Win in exploration and mystery. Lose in balance. It could be potentially unbalanced. There are 3 different things that I think they're going to be that they could potentially do. Number 1, and this is the one I think is more than likely, is evolution. And I'll explain each of these in a second. Number 1 is evolution. Basically evolving a bell that you already have. Number 2, new instruments. And number 3, not as likely in my opinion, attunement-based bells. So let's go over each of these, right? First one is evolution. This is the idea that we're taking our already existing base of bells, right? So we are taking the bells that we already have and giving it more options and more room to do different builds or things with, right? That's the idea I take a look at it as. A lot of people will look at it as like, I have a better shard bow now. I have a better sacred field now. If they ever do anything with bells, right, anything like this, it is very, very, very unlikely if they add some sort of progression or thing you can unlock that it will be straight up an upgrade. I've said this before. Side grades is definitely what they're going to do. But the idea is it could be an upgrade in some ways, downgrades in another. But the only issue is if it was an upgrade, balancing would be hell. And that's why I put a red X there for balancing, right? Because they got to make sure that they're equal with everything else here, which is kind of tough because bells, you can argue, are already kind of unbalanced, right? Depending on the build you fight. Bro, chat, is it crazy to me that they try to make this? They try to make this a fucking legendary. On everything, I was begging. I was like, don't do that. Do not. Please, bro. Please. And guess what? There was a poll in the tester Discord. It initially won. And I was like, we're doomed. This is terrible. This is actually horrible. And so, thank goodness. Oh my God. Archmage, I think me or somebody else pinged Archmage and we were like, bro, Archmage, imagine you get this instead of Camwee. How would the player base react? That's what I said. That's all I need to say. And after that, it was reverted back. Because name 5 niggas you know using skeleton key. Gun to the back of your head. I guarantee you're done. Wallahi, you're finished. See what I mean, right? I was trying to tell them. I don't know about that one. Here's the only counter argument. The counter argument was like, oh, well, if it's a legendary, it could be stronger, right? But I don't think that's the best argument because, like, that would just mean, like, you're balancing based around the rarity of the bell, right? So I think they should definitely buff it or give it like something else. But anyway, the idea is evolution. So taking what we already have, giving you new variants that you can basically unlock. And you have to do maybe like a Bankai from types of sort of fight. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's like a quest. A quest would be cool. Maybe it's a boss fight that isn't fucking a human. You know what I mean? Anyway, right? So yeah, something like that. I feel like the player base would absolutely enjoy having more bell variants or upgrades or downgrades, of course. But any new form of bell that comes with it kind of tying to the originals somehow, that I think anyone would enjoy that, like a boss fight of some kind. That would be absolutely amazing. And I guarantee you player count would spike. Number 2, new instruments. This one's a little bit more interesting because instead of there being like bells you can automatically unlock, so you have the normal and legendary, right? There is like a new tier, which is like it's like a new category. Something you have to go out to unlock. So I'm gonna instead call it / the unlockables. So these ones wouldn't be like evolving old bells. This would be unlocking new bells that are different instruments that have different effects. The only issue I see with the second one is like arguably there's not too much else they can start doing, right? Because I feel like what other ideas can they really, they can probably get creative with it, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Like eventually we'll run to the issue of, oh, this is just shard bow but worse. Oh, this is just sacred field but better. Oh, this is just wind up but kind of different. That's kind of the issue in my opinion, but I do think there are a couple cool ideas that they could do. I'm just saying that that could be a potential issue that they run into. But every bell that we've gotten, actually every piece of content, number one ramble I'll always ramble about, is that every piece of content we've always gotten is straight up given to us. This is an issue in my opinion. This is an issue because by having everything handed to us, it always feels like there's nothing to do after a weekly, realistically, right? Here's the issue. To get the new stuff, you're doing stuff you already been doing for a year and a half. It's May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Nigga, it's been almost 18 months since layer 2. Think about that. 18 months, damn near. We're approaching. Almost 18 months. That will obviously get niggas tired of the game, but it's the effects have only started to kind of show off now. My opinion. Point is, right, is that every time they add something new, we are going back to the old to get it. A new bell drops, you're going back to Yunshul again. A new talent drops, you're going back to the shrines again. You notice, right? The gameplay loop is like new thing drop, I go to Yunshul, new thing drop, I go to shrine. Or new thing drop, I do layer 2 for knowledge, and then I go to shrine. There's nothing outside that breaks out of it. So that's why when they introduce things like new oaths or like new bosses, that breaks the old cycle that every weekly kind of players kind of get used to. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like if they do add in unlock, like new things to unlock, it would be very cool to see new and unique unlock methods, because everything that the players have been conditioned to has been the same repeat cycle 98% of the time. Few exceptions. Salchemist, Silent Heart, Fade Trimmer, you know what I mean, right? Those are like, you're actually going out and doing different stuff. That's why whenever anyone streams that shit, it's like 3,000 to 4,000 people watching, which is absolutely insane numbers for Deepwoken, right? But there's so many people watching because guess what? It's not just, oh, I go to Yunshul, I reroll. You know what I mean? It's actually something that feels different and is something to do for the player that breaks the mold, which is why I think that, like, if they do add the second option or even the first option, as long as the unlock method is different from what we've been used to, it will get people playing. It will get people making videos. It will keep discussion in the community going. Communication, talking, etc. Right? A lot of people complain that there's nothing to do, but here's the thing. We keep getting things that don't give us a reason to go out and do something, even though the new content is dropping. What I will say is that I know it's tough. I know it's tough to make those things and give us new unlock methods to do, and it's much easier for them to drop a talent than drop 2 talents and give a quest associated with it. But if you pick one or the other, there's downsides to both. The downside to just dropping it, in my opinion, as it is in the weekly, it's very easy to get. It's not talked about for more than a day. Having a quest and unlock method, more buzz generated, more people talking about it, more mystery, more community doing things together, which is always good. A lot of people remember the times that the community is always talking about something specific or crazy, right? So I think that buzz getting generated is good. So that's why I feel like number 2 is still a pretty good option. Number 3 is just something I heard in the Tesla Discord, so I put it on here. The ability to like basically attune your bell to your attunement. So like a fire crazy slots or like an ice resurrection. I don't exactly know how that one would really work. But it was an interesting idea. The only issue is like they'd have to make variants for every attunement, so shadow, fire, ice for every single bell, which sounds like a lot of work. Now I'm going to get into which one I think is the best option, right? I put it on 1, 2 to 3 on most likely which ones I think they're actually going to do. Let me rank them. This is tough. It's basically a choice between 1 or 2 and which one I think is the best. Honestly, I think number 1 could sound better, but it just depends. In my opinion, if they said they added a new instrument, that sounds crazy. Bell Evolution still sounds, it's like basically like a 1.2. Bell Evolution still sounds very crazy, right? But saying that they added new instruments to unlock as bells would get people riled up like crazy. Now I think about it, right? And then attunement bells, I mean, it's giving me similar vibes to attuned monsters. We already have it. It's just that now I put them on fire when I use it. You know what I mean, right? Like, but I feel like if it's a new effect, the point is these two are giving us new ways to play with our bells. There's a lot of options I still feel like they haven't really kind of delved into in terms of bell usage. But now there's like a bunch of crazy ideas that are unlocked that could be really cool. And that could be clutch. Maybe you put it on your depth skanking build. But anyway, point is, right, bunch of different ideas that I feel like they could still work with. Like, for example, maybe there's multiple different uses to your bell. Right now, most bells we have are like one tap of the button. But I will bring up an example. Take a look. Most of these are like, you press Blood Scourge, you use it. You press Crazy Block, you use it, and then use the ability, right? The example I was going to say was actually Sacred Field, which doesn't make sense, but it's to kind of illustrate my point. It could be like a different button where like you can press C and then you can press X when you have a bell out to do a function, or you crouch and press C, or if you're in the air, your bell does something different. There's a lot of things in that regard that the devs, in my opinion, haven't really like done. Bunch of different ideas for bells that we can go and look at, which in my opinion can bring some pretty cool stuff.
If y'all enjoyed the video, make sure to go click on these other videos, man, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.